Hi everyone, welcome back to the Honey Wool Wonders knitting channel. My name's Honey and I'm coming to you from Melbourne, Australia. Today it's very cloudy and windy, so the lighting is not the best. I hope you're doing well. It's been a while since my previous video. Today I'm back with another project update video. I've got a fair bit of things to share today, mostly finished objects from my previous video, which were like work in progress. I've got a few new cast on, like one is totally new, never seen it before. I also bought some yarns for that one. So yeah, I've actually realized from my previous video, a lot of new people joined my channel. So welcome, I'm so glad you're here. I usually do like sort of like podcast format episodes like every few weeks, like whenever I feel like there's a good amount to share. And I do also have some other sort of videos that I do pattern roundups. So I think that's it. So let's just jump in. All right, so I'm actually going to start with, I know you realize that one of my finished objects is actually what I'm wearing, which is the Vilma top, but I'm going to get to that. I'm first going to show my very beautiful Ppoppo Jacket by AegyoKnit. So this was a whip in my previous video. I had sort of like, I was mid-body length previously, and yeah, so now it's like finished and absolutely adore this. I don't know if you can actually see it, but I'll try to do some proper like videos that I try them on and also like show the actual sort of cardigan. All right, let's talk about the pattern. This is, as I mentioned, the pattern by AegyoKnit. It was my first time knitting something from her. Her pattern was like, it was well written. There was like no issues that I really had. So as you can see, this is like a all over double must stitch texture. And it's a drop down, super slouchy, oversized cardigan. And it has very like wide sleeves, and the whole front and the bottom is finished by these beautiful like I-cord. So there's a lot of I-cord that you need to do. So once you finish the body, you actually start picking up stitches all around the cardigan. So from the bottom hem over to the neck, the front, and then you do like one huge round of like I-cord. And also the sleeves have like finishing with I-cords. And what else? Okay, the yarn that I use for this one, the pattern calls for a fingering weight yarn held with 2 strands of like lace weight, so mohair, but I didn't use the actual suggested yarn weight. I used a light fingering with 1 lace weight yarn. So these are the yarns that I use. So I held these two together, the Isager Merilin, which is a woolen linen combo. So it's 80% wool and 20% linen, and then with the Isager silk mohair in this beautiful sort of like burgundy red purple-ish color. So my yarn was a bit lighter in terms of weight than what the pattern asked for, but I intentionally chose this one because I did want to have like a very lightweight, not too warm cardigan that I can like wear in like, you know, like during fall or even like chilly days in summer. And this is exactly what I was planning to get, and I'm actually super happy with the yarn that I chose. The linen wasn't too fun to knit with. It was a bit like not bouncy, or it didn't have like that much of give, but the final result of the fabric is beautiful. I don't really know if you can see the actual color. I'll try my best to capture it in a B-roll if it doesn't come through that nicely, but yeah, absolutely love it. And this pattern has a very generous amount of positive ease. I made mine in the first size, so it's actually, it comes in 3 sizes, so it's not like super size inclusive, but since it's like super slouchy and oversized, I think it'll fit maybe like up to a size 5. And the needle, the pattern calls for a 6mm needle, so it's like a super open gaugey fabric. I think it's 16, yeah, it aims for a 16 stitch gauge after blocking. So I managed to meet gauge since I had a different sort of like yarn weight, I managed to meet gauge using 4.5 millimeter needle. So the whole body and the sleeves I knitted in 4.5 millimeter, and for the I-cord, I think it asked for a 4 millimeter, I think so. I used 3.25, yeah, for the I-cord. And I did end up with a nice sort of tension. There was one, maybe two things that I did sort of like, I mean, it's just good to have in mind in case you're knitting this pattern as well. One is the yarn estimate. The pattern gives like a estimate using like the lightweight fingering and also the 2 lace weight. I sort of used the same yarn estimate that this first size needs, and I ended up with 2 extra skeins of the Isager Merilin, which is my fingering weight yarn. So that's like, that's so off. Like, I don't know, like I don't know, I actually knitted up everything to pattern. Like I even went a bit further down with the body. I didn't want it to be like too short, but I still ended up with 2 extra skeins and 1 extra skein for the mohair. So I initially purchased 6 of this and 5 mohair. I used up 4 of these and only 4 of these, so 4 of each. So I didn't really need 6 skeins of this. So yeah, that's one thing. And the other thing is about like the back. So when I show it in like me trying it on, you're probably going to see that the back sits a little bit higher than the front. I know the front is like, the design has these increases to shape this sort of like, you know, like it's sort of like closed in the front. But I think if I'll try this again, I'll probably add some, like a few short rows at the back, just to add a slightly, I don't know, like a little bit more fabric to the back so it'll sit a bit further down. I don't mind it at this, like how it looks now. I absolutely love the fit. I love how slouchy and oversized and relaxed look it is. If you don't know, I love oversized like garments. So this is perfect. I love it. But yeah, as I said, just the back, I wouldn't mind have it like a bit further down. And another thing about the sleeves, so this is like a double moss stitch, and you probably know that this sort of like stitch and texture, it grows crazy like after you block it. So what happened was, like, I tried to, when I was blocking it, I tried to keep the size like measurements given in the pattern. So the sleeves are supposed to be 30 centimeters and mine is exactly 30 centimeters. So I was sure that it's not going to be stretched out too much, but the shoulder slope grew as well. So that caused the sleeve to just like sit a bit like, you know, like very close, a bit longer than I was like expecting it to. So I was thinking maybe to like rip back this I-cord and then go a bit further down with the sleeve length, but I'm still not sure if I'll do that. It doesn't annoy me that much because I've already worn it a few times since it's finished. I think I finished this like early this week or end of last week, and I've already worn it a few times. There's like only places that I don't know, like I'm washing my hands or I'm doing things in the kitchen and I just need to make sure that my sleeves doesn't get in the way. I'll probably at a point decide to make that fix and just make the sleeves a bit shorter, but it's not going to stop me from wearing it because, as I said, I've worn it a few times already, and that's a sign that I'm comfortable in this, and that's what I usually mostly care about. But yeah, overall, I love this pattern, super mindless. Like, it's just like, it was a knit that I just could grab and just knit on it without really needing to think about it. I think I did slightly change the increases for the front. It wasn't something that I was intending to, but I think I missed one round of increase and then I had to adjust the remaining ones according to that because I didn't really want to rip back and I knew it's not going to make that much of a difference. But overall, super happy, super lightweight and cozy. The yarn, the fabric is very soft, but I feel the silk mohair does add a bit of scratch to it. I'm not super sensitive, so I don't mind it, but maybe just something that you can keep in mind. There's one interesting thing about this Merilin yarn. Since it's like a linen and wool sort of combo. The linen strands, it's like these black, you know, like strands that you can actually see. So I think since that linen doesn't absorb color as like the wool does, it sort of gives it this cool like dimension, which I love. It actually appears very nicely in the finished fabric as well. You see those like sort of black strands. So Ppoppo Jacket by AegyoKnit, I love it. I did have this pattern in my 2025 knitting like vision board video that I shared previously, and I loved it. I love that I have it. I know I'm gonna wear this a lot, especially now like we're entering like fall here in a few days maybe, and we do end up with some like chilly afternoons or nights that I just grab for this. It's super easy to throw on and just keep yourself cozy. All right, let's go to my second finished object, which is what I'm wearing. This is the Vilma top by Gregoria Fibers. This is the second time I'm knitting this, and if you've been here before, you know how much I love this design. I just absolutely love it. The first time I knitted this in sort of like a woolly yarn, but this time I went for more like a cotton yarn base, more of like springy color, and I used the Rerum Natura Robinson yarn. I don't have any left as I actually finished the very last bit of the yarn. So this took exactly two balls from that yarn, and I actually had to use a bit of like my ends to finish off the binder. So that's how close I was to running out, and I really didn't want to go and buy a third skein. So yeah, only 2 balls, which was pretty affordable for a top. This doesn't take that much of a yarn because yeah, it's a top. It's sort of like very sort of like cropped. The previous time I knitted mine in the second size. This time I knitted in this first size. I sort of ended up with the same positive ease. I don't know how that's possible, but I'm gonna show again some closer shots of the yarn because I absolutely love this yarn. I've talked more about it in my previous video, so I'm not going to repeat myself. So if you want to know more details about the yarn and the whole pattern, you can check out that video. But overall, this is a bottom-up construction. So you knit from using provisional cast on, and then you knit up to the sleeves, and then you separate front and back. You join with this 3-needle binder for the shoulders, and then you there's a lot of finishing for this top, so you got to do the armholes. It's like 1 by 1 twisted rib, but the bottom edge, the good thing is that it's not Italian bind off. You just do usual like standard bind off, but the rest of the ribbing, it all requires Italian bind off, so you got to be a bit patient with this pattern. But I absolutely love how this looks. I love the yarn with this one. It's super soft, airy, it's perfect. I really wanted to get this finished before summer ends here, and I managed to do that. And honestly, I've been wearing this non-stop since it's been finished. So I'm so happy that I own a very sort of summery Vilma top now, and I think that just tells how much I love this design. And I use the suggested needle sizes. So the pattern calls for a 4mm needle for the body and 3mm for all the like ribbing. So I use the same. I managed to get gauge. The pattern calls for an Aran weight yarn, and this is more of like a worsted weight, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is a worsted weight yarn, and it's a combo. It's 70% merino and 30% cotton, and the gauge is 22 stitches. So I use the same needle size, and I managed to meet gauge, and I love the fabric. All right, we've got another finished objects. This is a finished object sort of heavy episode because I had a few like whips going on, and I really wanted to finish them all before I cast on anything new. So I'm glad I did that. So my last finished object is this beautiful waffle loop scarf by Other Loops. This is a little bit hard to show because it's super long. Okay, so this is the actual texture. So as you can see, it's this waffle loop texture, and the shape is you start by casting on like a few stitches here, and then you start increasing to a certain point only on one side, so it doesn't have increases on both sides. And after you reach a point, you stop doing increases, you just knit straight, and then you start the decreases, and then you bind off on the other side. So it took me a while. I thought this might be a quick knit, but since there was like so much length, it took me a while. And I actually started this, so I went on a travel a few weeks back, and I was planning to knit this on my flight. So I actually casted this on the flight. So, but that maybe wasn't the smartest idea. So next time if I decide to have like a travel plan, I'll probably cast on before I, you know, like at home when I'm more concentrated, because I mixed up the pattern, like the charts. So this is, since it's knitted flat, you read from, you know, like right to left for the right side and left to right for the wrong side. But what I did was I just read all of the right and both the right and wrong side from one side. So that's what happens when you read the wrong side from the wrong side. I've got a picture of it, like how it looked. And I was like thinking, okay, this doesn't exactly look as the pattern. I was, you know, like sort of knowing that this is not what I'm supposed to get. But I think I was just like not too concentrated to understand, or just, you know, like spend time to see what I'm doing wrong. And then I remember like the first night when I arrived, I was like jet lagged, and it was like 3 a.m. in the morning, and I was like, okay, now I know what I did. I was reading the wrong side from the wrong side. So I had to rip back. I had a bit, like, I think I've had like this much knitted, sort of, which wasn't like, it was quite a lot. But yeah, I really didn't have that much of a choice to keep it. So I had to rip back and start again. But yeah, I ended up with this beautiful lightweight scarf. It's not too heavy or too thick of a fabric. But again, that's what I wanted. I didn't want to have like a super warm scarf because we don't get that much cold weather here. I don't have any of the yarn here with me. But I'm going to show like V-rolls of the yarn. I did use the Isager Alpaca 2 held with the Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair. So they're again in this sort of burgundy color. The Knitting for Olive mohair is in the color Bordeaux, and the Isager Alpaca 2 in color 36. So I bought 3 skeins of each, but I ended up using only 2 skeins of the Alpaca 2 and 2.5 skein of the Knitting for Olive mohair. So I still have 1 full skein left of the Alpaca 2, which I have no idea what I'm going to do with. I'll probably knit like a hat with it, but it's too thin. I'll probably need to pair it with something else. So the Alpaca 2 is sort of like a light fingering held with lace, but the pattern calls for a sport weight held with lace weight. So again, I was off gauge. I didn't make any gauge swatch because this was just like a scarf. I didn't really mind not to meet gauge, but I love it. I love the color. I love the feel. It's not scratchy at all. The alpaca is super soft. Like I just can't explain how soft it is, and I love the color. So all right, so that's the end of our finished object section. Next we're going to dive into the whips that I've got. They're not many. There's just like 2 and maybe just 1 little one, but I'm going to start with my favorite one, which is the Pride and Pearls cardigan by Kutavakika. So I don't have that much like going on here. So as you can see, this is the back panel. I've only started this like a few nights back. So I finished the increases, which is a good thing because I had to concentrate so much for the increase section because there's like increases happening on both right side and wrong side, and now I'm onto the straight section. I think I've got like 10 or 8 more rows to finish the back panel, and then you start picking up stitches for the 2 fronts, and then you just knit in the round. So this is such a beautiful and dreamy pattern. This pattern is super size inclusive. It comes in 9 sizes. And I'm knitting mine the 2nd size. This is not a knit for me. This is going to be a birthday gift for my sister. She actually chose this pattern. I was planning to knit something for her birthday, and I just sent her a few patterns, and she chose this one. And honestly, I was so glad when she chose this because this is a favorite design of mine. If you've seen my previous videos, there were a few places that I actually had plans to knit this, but it never ended up on my needles. I actually purchased the yarn for this as well. So when she chose this, I already had the yarn. So the yarn that I'm using for this one, it's this yarn by Arbon Textiles. It's knit by Numbers DK in this very beautiful pink color with some nice like specks of like, there's some red in there, there's black in there, we've got some light blues. It's such a dreamy pink. I'll try again to get some better shots, but look at those reds. Oh my god. And then I'm pairing it with the Isager Alpaca 1 in the color 61. So again, these two are very like similar color, and it is creating this beautiful fabric and beautiful color. So yeah, the pattern, as you can see, it's like a top-down construction, drop shoulder, and then beautiful like all over texture, and then it has this very cute I-cord tie that you know sort of like add to it, which I love. This sister of mine, she's not here, so we're planning to meet up like around her birthday, so I've got some time to, her birthday's in May, so I've got some time to finish this, but this is going to be my main focus throughout the few like next weeks, because I really want to make sure I'll finish it. But yeah, it's such a addictive sort of pattern, because you just want to get to the next section. So this took me only like 2 nights maybe that I've knitted this much. I'm super happy that I'm finally knitting this one. This yarn, I plan at a point to use it for my Siri cardigan, but when my sister chose this pattern, I was like, let me just use up this one, and then I'll end up buying another sort of yarn for my Siri cardigan. But yeah, my main focus at this stage, Pride and Pearls cardigan by Kutavakika, and I can't love this enough, and I can't wait for it to be finished and gifted. All right, I've got another whip, another interesting whip, because I've been eyeing this pattern for so long again, and this is another pattern from my 2025 knitting plan video, and that is my Olga Sweater by Petiteknit. Again, not much of this here, but it's at a very funny stage that honestly I don't even know if you want me to show this, but I can actually just show the color. So this is the color combo that I chose, and it was such an instant decision. I had a green sort of Olga Sweater version in mind. I love green. If you don't know, it's one of my favorite colors. So I knew I wanted like a green Olga Sweater. And then I went in to pick up this yarn, the Alpaca 1, and then I saw this beautiful skein on the shelves. So the yarn that I'm using is this yarn Mominoki, German Merino Light. This is a German wool, so it's sort of like hand dyed and spin there. And the color that I'm choosing is this Carmine red and Winter Cloud. And it's creating this beautiful color combo. So these are sport weight yarns. The Olga Sweater is calling for a DK weight yarn, but I managed to again meet gauge with this because it's sort of like a very, it's a heavy sport. It's very close to DK. And so this is how it looks in like the cakes. I think it's a 22 stitch gauge with 4mm needle, and I exactly got the same gauge. So this is how it looks after I blocked it. It blooms so beautifully. So this is a very, first let me ask this question. Do you see any blue shades in this lighter color, or does it seem all like gray or white to you? Because I do see a blue shade in this, like a very light blue, but no one else sees it, and that makes me sad because it makes a huge difference if you see the blue or if you don't see the blue. I don't know, I absolutely see the blue, but yeah, let me know if you see it as well. But I want to give you a bit of a detail about the yarn. So this is, as I said, it's like a German yarn. It's spun in a small spinning mill owned by a family in the 3rd generation, and they get the wool from the local shepherds in the surroundings. So the wool is from the breeding of the sheep to the dyed yarn. It's completely made in Germany. And okay, this is such a rustic and woolly wool. It's 100% wool. And it gives me a similar feeling as the Isager Jensen yarn. If you've used it, this might give you an idea of like how the texture of this yarn is. So this is like a very deep, rich, sort of like berry red. It's bold, but it's not, you know, like too loud. It blends super well with this lighter contrast color. But yeah, I had doubts about the color. When I made the swatch, it didn't seem that much interesting to me. I felt like, okay, I'll probably want to keep this red because I love the red color in this yarn. And just use it for another project. I was thinking like a slip over because they only had 2 skeins left of this. And this is like a very generous amount you get in 1 skein. So this is 340 meters in a 100-gram skein, and it was discounted. So I got it for a pretty reasonable price, and I only needed 2 because the Olga sweater, since it's striped, it needs like 450 meters for each color. So I got 2 of each, and that gave me the amount that I needed for a sweater. Because yeah, 350, that's a lot of yarn, and it was discounted. So it's a bit pricey still, but I love the yarn, and I really wanted to give it a go. If you've tried this yarn before, because I haven't seen, honestly, this was the first time that I knew about this yarn. Then I went and followed them on Instagram, but I haven't seen many people like even talk about it or use it. So I don't know if it's going to be like worn well or if it's going to feel well. So if you've used it before, let me know if it's a nice yarn or how it just wears up. But yeah, I did have doubt about the colors, and then I decided to go in and get another color for the contrast, sort of like a yellowish. But then I was like, I'm just gonna go with what I chose, and if I didn't like it, I'll just rip it back. But once I saw those like stripes coming together, I love it, and I love the stitch definition. It gives this beautiful, crisp, crunchy. It feels exactly how I felt about the Isager Jensen yarn. That's why I'm saying like it's very similar sort of vibe to that. And it's also hand dyed. So I've never used any hand dyed yarn before. It's my first time, but they had like a very sort of like rich color palette, but they were all like muted. They're not like super loud colors, but I love it. I always wanted to have an Olga sweater. I love the look. It's such a slouchy, like oversized drop shoulder construction, and I know I'm gonna wear this a lot just around the house. And yeah, it's finally on my needles. Okay, I've got one small other whip as well. This is going to be a sock. I'm sort of freehanding this one. I am not following a pattern. I'm using the same like sizing, as in like stitch count, as my previous socks, and then some also patterns so this is one. I did have a pattern for this broken rib texture previously. I can't remember the sock name. But it was a pattern by Marie Christine, which I love, and I've already worn it a few times. I love this broken rib texture, but that one's like the whole sock is like broken rib, but I'm thinking of maybe like doing just stockinette after I get to the foot section, so I only have this for the leg, and I want like a shorter leg length. And this might also end up being another like an additional gift on my sister's birthday gifts, because she loves my socks and I do want to knit one for her. So I think this might end up for her. This is I don't have the label, but this is the Regia silk sock base. I've used this before for my hibernal socks, and I love the feel of it. It's super soft, and this is in this very gray muted color. I haven't done much on this one. But yeah, that was all my whips, and I don't have any acquisition other than the yarns that I've already used in my project. I'm actually a bit behind with all my knitting YouTube content because I haven't had much time to just, you know, like watch YouTube, and I've been like hooked on a TV show lately. It's called 6 Feet Under. It's not a new show. It's like a sort of like a classic one. I think it's 2001. So it's very old, but I've never seen it. It's been suggested to me by my sister, and oh my God, I can't stop watching it. It's a bit dark. It's all about like death and people dying, but it's a very, very deep, and I don't know, I've been just like binging non-stop on that one. But once I finish that, I'll probably just end up with all my leftover knitting content that I'm so keen to catch up with. All right, I think that's it for today. If you reached this point of the video, thank you so much. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe if you haven't already. So all your support just helps me grow this little corner that I'm building here. And honestly, it just makes me weirdly happy when every time like someone new joins my channel. I don't know, it's just like a very nice feeling, and I think it's just like the only way that I actually know that what I'm doing here you're enjoying and you're having fun, because I have so much fun sharing this and I get motivated to share more here with you. But thanks again for sticking around. I hope you're having a wonderful day or night wherever you are. Happy knitting, and I think that's it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.